Good morning. It's Thursday morning, I think July 22nd, and the sun is shining, but every time I've gone out this morning to plant a few flowers, it starts to rain, and there's 0% chance of rain today. So again, the weatherman got it right. Anyway, I wanted to tell you a little bit of a story about one of my containers, and so hang tight. Okay, so I went to an auction one time, and as I was sitting there, I told Ken, the one thing that I want in this house when we build it was a clawfoot tub. And he said, nope, no clawfoot tub in my house. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And so anyway, as we're sitting at this auction, here comes a clawfoot tub. And Ken looked at me and he said, no, 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 no. And I said, well, I really want one. I think it's coming home with me. And anyway, he had an item at the auction across the way, and he went over there to bid on it. And when he came back, I owned a tub, and it looks like this. So this tub got put right there. It is so heavy. We brought it home on a flatbed truck and had to strap it down really good. And then when we got here, it took like 6 guys to haul it up here. And the reason it's here and not in my bathroom is because I sat down in it to see if I, really liked it. These are not comfortable. These are not. And especially, I am 6'2". This is especially not a comfortable place to take a bath. So anyway, it ended up right here. And when we put it down, it kind of is not level. It kind of slopes this way. And I asked Ken to move it, and he said, no, it's staying there. Don't ask again. So I kind of figured out that was what was going to happen. So I've planted a few things in it in the past. I've planted tomatoes. They did okay. It's just that sometimes I forget to water it. And so I've set the sprinkler so that it should get it every day. And today we're going to plant this in those. So just 1 second and we'll get planting. So I had the boys bring in some compost, and they put in about a 4 or 5 inch layer of compost, but they didn't dig down in that bathtub and mix the compost with it. So that's what I did this morning. And then I've added soil additive and fertilizer and some Epsom salts to give it some magnesium. And what you need to do with these is make sure, no matter what planter you're planting, whether it's just a regular planter you get at the nursery, or if it's one of the pots or one of the galvanized things that you might find that you like, whether it's a water trough, it doesn't matter what it is. But if you're going to plant in it and it's deep and you're not going to make it into a wicking tub, you need to put some holes in it. Well, fortunately for me, this bathtub had a crack in it, and so all that does is if it gets too much water, it lets that water leave the containers so that your plants won't rot. And that's what most plants like, water, but they don't want to sit in water. So just keep that in mind. Also, what you need to do, keep in mind when you're planting some of these containers for flowers, so it looks good, you need to plant stuff that's going to get taller in the back and things that are going to stay shorter in the front, because you don't want the stuff in the front to get really tall and not be able to see the stuff in the back. So I'm going to get started on this. We're going to put some marigolds in the back, some big tall yellow marigolds in the back. Then we're going to put some lobelia that's going to get bushy kind of, and then we're going to put I can't remember what that's called, but I'll have a name for you in just a second. All right, so that flower bed is all done. I just left the heads on the marigolds back there so that you could see what the color is going to look like, and now I'm going to chop their heads off. But all of this, where it's a little bit bare right here, right here in the front, all of that will fill out. And that white green plant there is called a Helichrysum petiolar. And its name is white licorice, but I just love it, and it's going to drape a little bit over the sides of there. And then the lobelia, the blue in the middle, that's going to get big and bushy, and then those marigolds will just get tall in the back. So I'm off to do what? Can you see that clear out there in the back? That, my friends, is a manure spreader, and it's going to get filled with marigolds right now. All right, so the manure spreader got marigolds put away all the way around it, and I left the flowers on there just so you could see what it's going to look like. But I'm going to go out and chop their little heads off here in a minute. And then that bare spot right there in the middle, I'm headed to the nursery don't tell anyone, to get some kind of grass to put in there, I think. So we'll talk to you in a second. Okay, so I think that I have planted for this morning. This afternoon, Kaylee's going to be here, and we are going to start planting some medicinal herbs and get them out of the greenhouse. But I wanted to tell you what the 3 plants were that I planted today. The first one were the marigolds, and they're in the manure spreader and also in the back of the bathtub. Boy, that sounds funny, doesn't it? And they are called Inca 2 yellow, and they're tall, and they get great big heads on them, and that's the kind of marigold that I like, is the yellow ones. I like some of the little orange ones, but not many of them. Most of them I just like the yellow one. And then the blue is Laguna lobelia. And then the one in the front that was the green plant with the little white on it, that is called white licorice. And so if you like those colors, go down to your nursery and see what they've got. And the other thing I wanted to tell you, I know some people are going, why is she planting flowers on June 22nd? Well, I'm crazy a little bit, but you can plant flowers just about any time in the summer. And that's so if you go down the nursery and everything's on sale and you're thinking, I wish it wasn't so late in the season. If you've got some place to put them, take them, get them in the dirt and water them good, and they'll be just fine. When my daughter got married, that was the year that I had brain surgery. And so we were so late getting the garden in, and she was getting married in my yard. I know, crazy, so much work. But we went ahead, and I was planting flowers about the end of June, and the yard was beautiful. I wish I had some pictures so you could see it. And the other day she walked out the back door and she says, Mom, if I ever get married again, I looked at her and I said, what? She says, I'm not going to get married again. I'm done. This is it. Weston's a keeper. But she said, if I was ever to get married again, Mom, I would get married in your yard. Because now, after she got married in 15, so after 8 years, everything has grown bigger, everything is bushier, and everything is prettier. And so don't be afraid to have events in your house, in your yard. Don't be afraid. It is work. It's a lot of work, but it saves a lot of money if you do a wedding in a yard, and it's fun, and it's personal. And I'm glad you were here this morning. I want you to get your hands dirty. If you want to, go find those flowers down the nursery and get them planted. Right now, I'm going to go to work. I got to get something done down there. So I will see you this afternoon.